Friday. Viva Betness. Let's head into the KUAM News Zoom room where we have the president of the Guam Federation of Teachers as we get ready for last weekend before going back to school, Tim Fidenko. Good morning, Tim.
Unmute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we'll just get right into it. What are you hearing from the union membership about return to school on Tuesday and the resumption of face-to-face learning?
Well, everyone's there, it's 50-50, I would say. Some are ready to go back, not worried. So many of them are worried. I think having the shots would ease that little, the vaccine would ease the worry some, but even that being said, only about 20% of the teachers at my school opted for the vaccine the first time around. So you aren't going to hit herd immunity with those kind of numbers.
Right.
But personally, I'm fine with it. Everyone's washing their hands. We have PPEs in place. Distancing. Everyone's working in their room. We'll see. We have to try it sooner or later, right? To see how it goes with the students. We were ready in the beginning of the year, and then it got changed. The governor declared Core 1, so we couldn't really experiment with what we had the first time. But I think we're good. Anyone who doesn't have, some people I did hear through the grapevine, some are asking about PPEs, but if you don't have that, you should talk to your principal. If you can't get any results out of your principal, then definitely go to the superintendent, because they assured us that all PPEs, alcohol, spray bottles, masks, gloves would be issued out. And I think on the one end of drinking fountains hasn't quite been remedied yet for the students. They're waiting on that. I have a meeting with the superintendents later this afternoon. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's not the best education the kids are getting.
Is it
right
adequate
now,
though?
Yeah.
Tim, so those teachers, if you're hearing if they don't have supplies and PPEs, you're right. I mean, Superintendent Fernandez has said that those are available. But do you think is there an issue with maybe getting them out to the school level that you know of?
No, I mean the PPEs at my school have been there since August. The very first week I was issued my mask and alcohol and sanitizer and spray bottles. Maybe some schools, it's up to the individual principal, right? Maybe some of them did it in a different way. I don't know.
Are you still a librarian, Tim?
Yeah, I'm still a librarian at Price Elementary.
Right. So what's the protocol for library? I mean, because, kids touching books and all that.
Yeah, that's a good question. We're going to try to do a push-in where we take in a cart, kind of focus in on the subject the teacher's doing, cart of books on the subjects. They're not going to get quite the freedom to pick some things, depending on the librarians. I'm sure we can get a mix and match. Have them get those books from the cart as a push-in so they don't travel as much. Get a story time and then check out a book and then turn the book in with the cart. We'll leave it sit on the cart for 3 days, untouched. By then the COVID should be gone. And then check them back in. That's my plan. Other librarians have different plans. I think I could even open up the library for kids to use. There's a capacity of 22 size-wise in our library, but every library is different on Guam. Some libraries are literally like closets. I mean, it's all different.
What school What school are you at?
I teach at Price Elementary in Manila.
How many students do you have an idea are actually returning to Price?
Yeah, I do. We're getting about, I think, almost 200, a little under 200, over 100, under 200. How would that help you?
Wow.
I mean, it kind of changes. You know, even the beginning of the school year, you get kids just show up that day, right? That they never registered or anything like that. And you know, with the 500 missing, so maybe some of those will come in there, and then kids that have never been to school might show up on that first day as well. You know, so we're thinking under 200 per day on an A day and then on a B day, out of a population of about 600.
Wow. So about a third.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of kids are opting for online and hard copy for sure.
Are there any, have you heard any or received any complaints or conversation from teachers or anyone, members of the union who maybe aren't comfortable with returning to face-to-face? And so is the Department of Education affording these staff to the opportunity to maybe not do face-to-face? Or is everybody go ahead.
Yeah, we've had one resign. She has medical conditions. She did not want to come back face to face. She was a retired teacher, and so right off the bat, we're short now already. Some of the other teachers are doing online if it's affordable, if they can do it. You know, they're working it out. Once again, it's kind of the principal have a lot on their shoulder. They're kind of monitoring it, and the grade levels in elementary get together and say, well, I've got, you know, so many online, you take the online, you're a higher risk, you know, maybe you got some comorbidities, then I'll take the face-to-face kids, you know what I mean? So they're working out that way. But yeah, there's definitely, don't get me wrong, there's people that are scared about going back for sure.
So is there a process or a remedy? I mean, because I'm just not, obviously we've never been in a pandemic before. So if, let's say, if someone has to do face-to-face and they just don't want to for, you know, whatever reason, medical, or maybe they're a caregiver, is there a process with the union for them to go through?
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be through the union, but in HR has given a video for everyone who's worried about it and what you can do. And, you know, you can resign back within 4 years to your spot and your pay. It may not necessarily be your school, but of course you would be without pay, but you're going to get your spot and your job back when the pandemic is over, if that's the situation. Others, most, you know, the superintendent's been working with ways teachers online if they have comorbidities, you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, doctor's note, you know, that kind of stuff. Sometimes some of them are caregivers. From what I'm hearing though, everyone's been pretty supportive of each other and allowing them to stay home and teach online.
I have a question, and it's not necessarily just all about the Guam Department of Education, because the GFT doesn't just, you know, deal with GDOE. What about other government of Guam agencies, issues with like overtime? I know that there was concerns like at DOC at one point that they weren't getting their overtime. Are you guys getting complaints or concerns from union members?
Yeah, definitely. They're way behind for overtime. In fact, we're, you know, filing suit with them again. You know, Robert's the field rep for that, you know, and he handles that the best. But he's kept me up. He says, yeah, it's DOC that's behind. I think fire's behind. No, fire department's way behind with their overtime, and then we have to threaten lawsuits, and then all of a sudden it seems to get paid.
Well, have you heard public health is behind?
I haven't heard that offhand. You know, I still teach full time, so
Okay.
I don't know everything, right? You know,
Okay.
but Rob, you know, and it probably, yeah, public health has been on the radar for a long time.
Okay.
They're habitual. DOC's habitual with not paying overtime.
Right.
Eventually they'll pay it, you know.
Is that kind of the mentality? I mean, I know that you said that you had to threaten the lawsuits, but it seems like this is just a recurring theme. We get Ed
Yeah.
Byrne on here, and he's like, "Oh, the agencies aren't turning it in," or I don't know where.
It's paperwork.
Yeah.
It's, things like that.
Yep. It's like it's almost becoming habitual. Eventually, it'll get to a point where, you know, people vote differently. I don't know, but yeah, we keep it. Good thing Robert's on top of it, and we're sending it DOA saying, "Hey, you're behind. What's going on here?"
Oh, here he is. Yeah,
So basically, so we need to speak with Robert.
he's right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Hey, good morning, Robert.
Oh, good morning. Good morning.
We were just talking about you. Were your ears burning?
Yeah.
So we're asking Tim here about overtime issues, pay issues. I know that you had sent me something that it's mostly happening with law enforcement. Where's that?
Yep, the overtime pay again and again and again. I'm sorry, just give me a second here.
Okay.
Kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Overtime pay and differential pay with law enforcement seem to be major sources of contention and employee dissatisfaction right now. Morning, Tim.
Morning, Robert.
So can you tell us which agencies haven't been getting their overtime? I know that Tim had mentioned GFD, DOC. What about like GPD, public health?
Right. So, yeah, we started receiving floods of calls and complaints about this, maybe 2 weeks ago. We started following up on the complaints. I would say a majority are law enforcement and not so much DOE at all. But with law enforcement, it was this, we're not being paid our overtime and we're X number of pay periods behind. I talked to DOA, and it's surprising. I don't know if I should say it that way, but DOA was on page with the law. When I talked to the Department of Administration, they didn't understand why this was happening. The agency heads shouldn't be requiring people to work if they don't have money to pay them. And overtime is due in the same pay period with the regular wages. When they're paid, you pay your overtime as well. They helped out a little bit by releasing a memorandum, one they wrote back in November 2020, advising the agency heads to, either pay your overtime when it's due or don't require your people to work. The information I'm getting now is that overtime is now being paid out, and it won't be all at once. Overtime will be paid over a couple pay periods until it's caught up. But the issue we have with the union is like every 8 weeks we got to do this, and it shouldn't be that way. That's not how the law is done. So, we're maybe looking at better ways to try and enforce the law.
Right.
Is it a paperwork issue, just to be clear, or is it a money issue? We don't have the money, just because we always hear, oh well, they're not, the paperwork's not right.
They can come up with lots of excuses for their negligence. We all, I think, tend to justify, ourselves so we can live with ourselves and the decisions we make. But the fact at the end of the day, you're not supposed to require people to work if you don't have money to pay them. And that the buck stops there. That's how the law is written, and that's how it needs to be done. It's not this idea in their head that, well, overtime isn't regular wages, so I don't necessarily have to pay those right away. Maybe I could wait a month and pay them. Doesn't work that way.
And it's unfortunate that we kind of just get used to it, because I don't know how many times we've heard complaints about, like you said, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks behind on paying overtime. And we're talking about frontliners. We were talking about people who worked throughout the duration of the pandemic, and for these frontliners to get treated like they're on the back of the bus, it's just it's terrible.
Yeah, the detail pay as well, and this is another area where the employees are very frustrated. I don't know if the governor realizes it, but the temper of many of the public employees is boiling. These people are angry. They play by a certain set of rules, and they expect the government to play by the same rules. And when the government doesn't play by the rules, people are getting very angry. So, I don't know if the governor realizes this or not, but these little things involving pay are very, very upsetting to employees. Everybody's looking for money right now. And those who feel like they're owed money, and can't seem to get it are very upset and angry. And when we're talking about, the DOC, GPD, the fire department, whatever agency it might be, those probably aren't the people that we can afford to be upset. So, the detail pay, when what happens is the government seems to be avoiding promotions. And instead of promoting employees, we'll just detail employees into higher positions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when they do that, the rules require, differential pay. And so these people who not even accept, they're told, they're given a memorandum informing them of their detail assignment. And then, to be quite honest, detail assignment problem has been going on since the Calvo administration. And I now have some individuals who've been holding higher positions for as long as 4 years. Now, the law requires that those detail assignments terminate in 90 days. And that's considered long enough to announce your position, do your interviews, and hire somebody to fill the position. But instead of promoting employees, we'll just stick employees in these higher positions and avoid promotions. Because the government is doing this, we're looking at using the whistleblower process, which is going to hold each agency head liable, $1,000 per violation for employees who are held in a detailed position beyond the 90 days. I think this will get their attention. Maybe we can cause this to finally stop, because it's just ridiculous how widespread and common this is. Fire chief appeared in front of the Civil Service Commission. He told the commission every single firefighter is working at a job one step above what they were hired to do. So your lieutenants are working as captains, your captains are working as battalion chiefs. The jaws dropped at the commission. Oh my God, you opened Pandora's box. And, what are we going to do now? So, the government knows what's going on. They're not doing anything to solve the problem. And so we're going to step up. So this is a message to the governor of Guam. We are looking at extreme remedies for extreme problems. Certainly we're willing to try and work it out, but, money's due and wages need to be paid, and employees, expect to be paid in accordance with laws and rules that are in place. So that's what we do, and that's where we're at right now.
Rob, I just wanted, going back to that whole detail situation, and you said, like, for example, the person that's been in that position working at a higher, I guess, rank, would that individual, for example, or anybody in a similar position be entitled to back pay for working at that higher level?
Right.
You know
After
I mean?
you hold a detailed position.
I want to say I've heard like a lawsuit or something in the Civil Service Commission kind of related to this.
Yeah, we've been in the commission, a dozen times on this issue. And, it's very frustrating. Even the commission itself tries to find ways to, avoid this. One ruling, they said, well, the individual has to be qualified. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not what the law says. The law says that if you work in a higher position, you're due to pay. Yeah. That's anything about being qualified, because this would allow your agency heads just to choose unqualified people to hold higher level positions. Mm-hmm. That's certainly contrary to public interest. Mm-hmm. When the ambulance comes to my house, I want the best qualified individuals to treat my family members. I don't want the least qualified who are positioned above step.
Mm-hmm. What with overtime? Do you have like an average, or what's the longest amount of time that overtime hasn't been paid? Just on average, you can kind of recall.
Yeah, that's tough. That would require me to remember all the different cases that we brought. I can't remember yesterday.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we've heard just on the show 7 weeks, 9 weeks.
Oh,
pretty standard.
Periods.
Yeah, pay periods.
Yeah, each week too. So, well, we we don't want to let it get too far behind. Then we get accused of sitting on our hands. So yeah, it's usually start getting about 4 pay periods behind. People start to complain. The promises start to wear thin after a couple months, and so you should start coming in around then, and it takes a little while to get some commitment from the government to start paying it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that we struggle to pay these frontliners and law enforcement the overtime that they're owed, but we don't struggle to recruit these political hires above step, and walking on the first day on the job earning 90 grand.
Right.
So I don't think it's an issue of the money.
Those are agency heads. Yeah. I assume. I hope nobody's walking in on the job picking up 90 grand who's not an agency head.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
For a deputy, that's kind of crazy.
I did ask public health yesterday because we had received information that they hadn't received overtime COVID-19 hazardous pay for over 5 pay periods, and so the response
that would be. Yeah, that's the employees. I did followed up with DOA on that, and according to DOA, everybody has a role, but the agency head's responsible to make sure that they have money to pay the employees before they require those employees to perform work.
Yeah.
And so if indeed there's no money in their budget, they need to pick up that phone and do something. And in the meantime, they might have to slow down on testing or something like that because, how would you like if I hire you to come over and build my house that I don't pay you?
Yeah. Well, this was the response that I got from public health. We are working to get hazardous pay paid to public health staff and also working with the different divisions on ensuring paperwork is processed promptly. It's a matter of getting all the timesheets and documents submitted on time or processed correctly in some instances. So, are you saying that that's just a bunch of BS? It's really just that we just don't have the money?
Nope, I'm not saying we don't have the money. I don't know what the balance in these people's accounts are. But I'll tell you, if they can't meet their payroll obligations timely, then you got a management issue. You've got inadequate management there who's not getting the job done. And if you can't run the agency, my goodness, step down and let somebody else step up who can do the job. All they got to do is, get their payroll division working. If they're only working 1 day a week, maybe we should make them work 2 days a week. And I'm talking about under this PCOR 1, with the reduced hours. Yeah. I don't know how much payroll is working. Are they working full time and it's not enough? Is it because there are vacancies that aren't being filled? Is the legislature aware that you need more positions? But whatever it takes to do the job, that's what you got to do, if you're in that position. Talking
about the legislature, have you guys gotten any response or had any dialogue with any of the senators who oversee law enforcement or any of the employees who are affected by this shortchanging of overtime?
Well, right now the legislature is going through a transition, and you got some coming in and some going out. Everybody's kind of settling in. It'll probably be a few weeks before I think they'll be functional.
What about the go ahead, what was that, Tim?
I said the shorter answer is no. Legislation doesn't usually reach out as much as I thought they would to the union.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think they would, but Sanjay does. He's the vice president, former president. He has friends that are in the legislation, but yeah, they're kind of, when we go and testify is about the time we meet them.
That's interesting.
But speaking of the legislature, if I may,
yeah.
Yesterday Clint Rigel took issue with the CCU and the PUC. One of the big concerns we have there, and it involves the new power plant, is that the CCU and PUC will be shutting down Cadmus Island when the new power plant opens. They will be laying off again local families, local workers who have good paying middle income jobs. And the new power plant, they're turning those jobs over to foreign workers. I pardon my French, but what the hell? These are classified public employee jobs, and we need good jobs on Guam. All the people of Guam need good jobs. This is absurd. You don't take the few remaining good jobs we have and turn them over to foreign workers for no good reason. Those are Guam jobs. And yeah, I agree with Clint. If the CCU and the PUC can't see their way to work for the people of Guam, then we don't need them. Then go somewhere else. Go work for someone else, because on Guam, those are Guam jobs for Guam families. Sorry, I'm very emotional about it.
That's good.
Hey.
I think that everybody on Guam needs good pay to take care of their family. I think our children need opportunities on this island so they don't have to move away after college to find a job that pays better than $9 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it's absurd.
Let me
Our
bend
children
it.
can't buy homes. 30-year-old kids still living at home because there's no options out there. There are no rungs on the ladder for them to climb.
Let me ask you guys, what do you think about this bill to delay the minimum wage increase for a year?
Of course. Cheat people out of their wages. We made it a law. Now we don't want to follow it. That's the thing. Why do we do this to ourselves? These are the people of Guam. These are the people who are going to shop in your stores. They're going to go down and buy cars at the car lots. These are people who are going to buy houses on Guam or build houses. But no. Let's just take away their wages. They don't need money.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is sarcasm.
Well, you might think so. During PCOR 1, my bush cutter walked away. My chainsaw walked away. My welding machine walked away. I think there were 4 items in all. I know people are hurting because they're doing whatever they have to survive. And, you know, I think maybe our senators are out of touch. Maybe our governors are out of touch. They don't realize the temperature out here. Like I said, people are angry and others are desperate. And enough's enough. We need to get our wages up. I heard Biden say he's going to jump it up to $15 an hour. And if President Biden does that, well, hell, Guam can't even handle $9. You know, how are they going to handle that?
Any update on the double pay situation lawsuit? Was that ever filed?
It is.
Yeah, it's still going through. The court case is still ongoing. It's in the court. You know, wheels of justice move really slow. It takes years for things to get done. But yeah, it's still we're still pursuing it. You bet.
All right.
We haven't lost yet, put it that way.
So the theme here, employees, hardworking employees of the government of Guam and the public sector, not getting their overtime. They're having to wait, 5 to 9 pay periods. It's egregious. Governor's out of touch. Employees are pissed because they're not being paid. They're struggling. They're not being taken seriously. It's pretty depressing.
You know, it's interesting that before the whole march on the White House, I wanted to go ahead and bring these employees down to the governor's office. But at this point, maybe that's not a good idea. I don't want anybody getting upset.
They're going to call them terrorists.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Wow. So how do we get I mean, it sounds like you guys need a seat at the table, but you're not even in the house.
Yeah, I hear you. That I think is probably it too. Yeah. This whole mentality, about, I know the governor gets accused of, political appointees and political acts, hiring family, this and that. But after they do, they treat them so bad. You know what I'm saying? They take advantage of them. They don't pay their wages properly. You name it. So even, allegations of harassment in the workplace. So if we're hiring family and friends, which is what, I hear, we sure don't care much about them.
Well, it depends which family and friends, because, they hired the Democratic Party chair for $80,000. They hired a failed senatorial candidate for $90,000. So those.
Right. Well, I was actually responding to your allegations. I don't know that goes on. I know agency heads are appointed by the governor based on her trust and loyalty.
Yeah.
But after that, I think the merit system's still out there. I hope it is.
Well, thanks, Tim and
Anything in closing?
Robert.
I think we got a bunch of great sound bites, but if you got something else in you, let's get it out.
You guys got vaccinated? No, next week.
No,
maybe?
no, not yet, not yet. I'm only 54, so I'm waiting.
But next week, right? They're anticipated to give the vaccination to educators.
We haven't heard anything official on that, unless you know something more than I do. I've been asking. Like I said, I have a meeting with the superintendent this afternoon, but we're still waiting. They're planning that out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll
At one point, I think they listed their priorities, and as I listened to that on who was next, I believe teachers are in the next group.
Right. Yeah. And bus drivers.
Here's what we have done. We have every teacher should have filled out and employee and DOE should have filled out a survey listing their age, if they have high blood or diabetes or other comorbidities, and they're supposed to turn that in, and if they want the shot or not. So there were 3 questions, and I believe what I've heard is after that they're going to get the numbers, and then they're going to start the program for vaccinations.
Well, good luck next week on the return to face-to-face. Stay safe.
Everybody wear your masks, keep a distance, and wash your hands, huh?
Robert, keep us in the loop, man. Don't wait till it's, you got to take people to court. Come on the show. Keep me posted. If people aren't getting paid their overtime, we're here to help.
Yeah,
Robert, thank you very much.
Robert's high blood is going to prevent put him up on the up.
Yeah, but if you talk about it more, you're not all bottled up. You know what I mean? You got to get that release.
Civil.
Feel you, Robert. Admire your passion. Thank you, Tim.
Well, Civil Service Commission opens on Tuesday.
Oh, boy.
And there's a place where we can start releasing some of our steam.
Get ready, Civil Service Commission.
Oh, boy.
Robert's going to go up there with like 5 boxes of complaints.
It's a truckload.
Well, see you guys. Have a good weekend.
All right.
Take care.
Appreciate
Sabrina,
it.
thank you.
Bye.
Well.
Wow. That's crazy. That's just nuts.
Now,
it's
now
shameful.
we know who to call, right?
It's shameful. It really is, man. These people are working so hard, and it's not over. Just because you guys caught COVID and you got the vaccine and you're good, doesn't mean everyone else out here is doing great. And I mean, these are people they shouldn't have to worry about. You shouldn't have to worry about that type of crap. You're going out, out there, whether it's chasing down crackheads in the street, guarding prisoners at the prison,
transporting
right?
patients,
or administering shots with the Department of Public Health.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have to worry about this. And it's not like we don't have the money, or is it? Because I'm saying that we have money to hire your party. We got money to hire people that the people of Guam didn't even want to serve as a senator. Then there's got to be money.
Yeah. And I have a difficult time accepting that it's a paperwork problem when we've been in this pandemic for 9,